Hello everybody and welcome to Bird's Nest Designs. My name is Denise Cox. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Canada, and today I am here to share with you this super cute arrow card using the Elephant Parade stamp set, which is my Stamp of the Month for my Stamp of the Month Club for July 2022. I love these super cute elephants. They are just absolutely adorable, and this arrow card is really cute and super easy as well. So let me go ahead and share with you how to create this arrow card. Now, if you are a member of my Stamp of the Month Club and you're watching along, you'll need your card kit that's included with your stamp set. And here are all the pieces that I've prepped and are ready for you. We've got a pool party card base, which measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've gone ahead and scored it at 4 1/4. We've got a piece of the Design a Daydream Designer Series paper, and this measures 4 by 5 1/4. We've got a piece of basic white, oh my goodness, I lost my words, and this also measures 4 by 5 1/4. I've gone ahead and die cut a square, the largest square, out of the stylish stitched shapes. And then we've got a strip that's half an inch by, let me just remind myself here, by 4 inches long. And just a scrap piece here of basic white to do a little stamping on. I've also included in the kit, and these are cut from Pear Pizzazz. And they are, let me just open these up for you so you can see, they are these super cute grass die cuts here. And I love that there's 2 of them included. And I've gone ahead and cut 2 of those out. And those elephant dies coordinate with this super cute Elephant Parade stamp set, which can be found in the 2022-2023 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog or on my online store, which you can find through createwithbirdsnest.ca. And they are so adorable, aren't they? All right, so there's all the pieces included. Now we're going to start, I'm going to put everything aside and we're going to work on the base, and we're going to create this super fun arrow card. So you're going to need a pencil and a ruler, and you're going to take the card base, and like I mentioned before, it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a pencil to mark the halfway points on either side down here and these 2 sides here. So 5.5 divided by 2 is 2 3/4. So I'll flip my ruler the right way here, and I'm just going to hold that in place, and I'm going to mark the 2 3/4 mark here with my pencil. Okay, and then this side here, we're going to just go up to the score line. So from here to here measures 4 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and score that in half, which would equal 2 1/8. So we'll just mark that here, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So this is going to get marked at 2 1/8. Okay, so there we've got our marks, and hopefully you guys can see that. I've marked here at 2 3/4, 2 1/8, and 2 1/8. All right, so now what we want to do is we're going to score those lines to make the arrow. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. Hopefully you guys can see that in the camera. And what I'm going to do is we're going to create score lines from this line up to the score line here, and from here to here on both sides. So holding the paper, hopefully you guys can see that in the camera here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this mark here in my track with this line here also in my track. I'm going to make sure to not use that dark cutting blade, and I want to use the lighter score blade. And because those are lined up, when I score it, it's going to score that diagonal line. Then I'm going to flip it over and do exactly the same thing. So this pencil mark in my track to that one in my track. Line that up. Okay, and we'll give that a score as well. Okay, now as I mentioned, we want to go from this score line here to the 4 1/4 original score line. So again, just lining that mark up with this score line. and scoring that. Flip it over. We'll do exactly the same thing. So I've got my pencil mark here and twist that over so that my score line lines up as well. And we'll go ahead and score that. Okay. So as you can see, those score lines are all in place. And now we want to go ahead and fold them. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold in here, and you want to use your bone folder for this as well. So we're going to fold it in, increase that well, and then fold this one back, increase that well. Then we'll flip it over and we'll do exactly the same thing over here. So we're going to fold this one in, and then fold this one back. And there you go. That's all there is to it. Now we'll fold on the original fold line so that you can see this whole arrow. And there's our arrow fold card. Super easy, super simple, but really effective. So let's go ahead and we're going to glue these in place. So I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue for that. Just a little line. Do the same over here. And then of course we're going to glue it down at the base as well. So we're going to put some glue here as well. And same on this side. Okay. All right, so there you go. There's our arrow fold. That's the base of our card. Now we get to do the decorating. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to attach, before I forget, I want to attach my 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of basic white to this bottom inside of the card. So we're just going to put a little bit of this glue here and attach that right inside here. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, I'm going to just set that off to the side here. I'm going to bring in my designer series paper. And this is Design a Daydream, which is the host exclusive from the annual catalog. It's really fun and super cute. So I love that there's a variety of colors here, and then on the flip side, it's just the petal pink. And that's why I chose this piece of paper, because you'll see when we create the arrow, it really does add a good contrast. So what we want to do here is, again, we're going to take out our ruler and we're going to measure the halfway mark along the long side here. So 5 1/4. So once again, we're going to go 2 3/4 and make our line. Now, why does that not look even? Because it's not 5 1/2, Denise, it's 5 1/4. So it's 2 5/8 is what we need. So I'm going to go ahead and mark here. That's better. So instead of scoring this time, what we're going to do is we're going to cut. So I'll make this out of the way. Bring in my trimmer once again. And this time we're going to put this mark that we made here in the track, and then we're going to go right to this outer corner. So let me bring that down so you can see it. So here's the mark, and right to that corner. And we're going to, this time we are going to cut, so we're going to slice that off with our cutting blade. There's one triangle. And then we're going to flip it over like this, and we're going to mark that line up again into our track, the corner into the track up here, and cut that as well. So there we've created our 3 triangles. And then when we bring the card back in, we are going to now use this to decorate. So here is our center triangle, and I'm going to use the petal pink side for this one. And you can see it goes perfectly right on that arrow flap that we made on our card base. So let's go ahead and attach that. Okay, so that will be here. Okay, I'm just trying to get it an even border all the way around. There we go. Now we're going to open up the card. And we want to make sure the white was down first because you're going to use that as a guide to adhere these triangles like this. So let's give some glue on here. Okay, and we're just lining that up with the edges of the paper. Do the same on this one here. We'll line that up corner here and make sure it's nice and flush. It's one of the reasons I love the multi-purpose glue, the liquid glue, because it gives me that little bit of wiggle room, especially when I do something like that, to get it exactly where I want it. All right, so there we go. See how that looks now? You can't even tell that it was the opposite side of the paper, but when you open it up, you've got that fun arrow. All right, so let's go ahead now and create the elephant parade focal points. So as I mentioned, I have a piece of basic white that I've cut with the stylish shapes. I've got a scrap piece for some stamping. I've got these 2 die cut Pear Pizzazz pieces of grass from the elephant dies, and a 1/2 inch strip of basic white for the sentiment. So to start with, we're going to use Memento ink because I do want to color this elephant with my Stampin' Blends. And in order to do that and get a nice non-smearing line, we're going to use the Memento ink. So I'm going to first stamp the elephant, and I've chosen to use this one. You could use any of the 3 elephants from the adorable set, but we're going to use this guy. And I'm going to stamp him right close to the bottom of the square. He's so adorable. All right, and then, of course, I want him to be chasing a butterfly, so I've got this cute little butterfly from the set as well, and I'm just going to stamp that up here. Okay, so now let's give this a color, and it's going to be super quick and easy. We're going to use Petal Pink and Smoky Slate, and I like to do my coloring most of the time. Sometimes I switch it up. Most of the time, I like to start with the dark and give it a bit of an outline. And then I come in with the light and I do some shading. Now you can do it either way. It's a personal preference for sure. Lots of people do it the opposite way. And on occasion I do as well, but I find that when I do the dark to the light, it kind of blends a little bit better. And I have to go over the image less times. So that's why I'm choosing to go with dark to light. And literally all I'm doing is tracing the inner edge of the stamped lines on this guy. Okay, so we'll just give that a color. And again, that was a dark smoky slate that I'm using. You could also do these well, you could do them any color really, but you could also use a gray granite, would look nice. Okay, so there's that. Give his forehead lines there. And now I'm just going to come in with my smoky slate light and just color that. And the beauty of the Stampin' Blends, if you haven't seen them before, is that you get no lines. Like I am just going crazy here and I'm not getting any smeared lines, any marks. You can't see where the lines are crossing each other. And if you can, you just go over it again and it clears that all up. Okay, and this marker seems like it's maybe at the end of its life, it's getting a little dry, but I have been using it a ton, coloring these adorable elephants and some hippopotamuses that I was sharing with you all last week on my blog. So these have got plenty of use recently. Okay, so then I'd like to just sort of do a little bit of this to kind of give it a little bit extra shading. Okay, so there's our elephant. Oh, we've got one leg here. Okay, and then I'm going to use, as I mentioned, the Petal Pink to color the inner part of his ear here. So just going to do a quick outline with the dark, switch to the light and color it in. Okay, perfect. There's our elephant. Now for the butterfly, I'm going to color the middle of his body here in the dark smoky slate. And then I'm going to bring in some Daffodil Delight. Now I'm pulling that from this color here on the Designer Series paper. And I'm going to color the butterfly yellow with this is the light Daffodil Delight. Okay, and then with the dark daffodil, oh, that one I'm gonna use this little end this time. I'm going to just color in the spots to make them just a little bit darker and have a little bit of contrast, but nothing crazy. Okay, there we go. Super cute, right? So what we want to do now is attach this to the front of our card. So I'm going to line it up so that it is just not overlapping these arrows here. Okay, so just like that. Looks good to me. And we're going to use it with Stampin' Dimensionals. If I can find them. If I download, there they are. Okay, so let's go ahead and put a couple in the corner. And then one in the center. Perfect. Okay, so then again, we're just going to make sure it's not overlapping here. Nice and straight along the top. That's not very centered. There we go. It's fairly straight. Perfect. Okay, so there we've got that attached, like I said, with Stampin' Dimensionals. And then we're going to, on our little tiny scrap piece here, we're gonna stamp the super adorable little mouse. So again, using my memento. Okay, and there he is there. And then with the elephant dies, here is the little coordinating die, and you can see it's gonna fit perfectly over top of the mouse. And a little tip here is this little hole here. If you line it up so that you can see the black line of the tip of his tail in it, then you know that it's lined up nice and evenly around the image. So I've gone ahead and pre-cut one from my stamp cut and emboss machine ahead of time. So now we're just going to give him a color, and I'm going to use Crumb Cake to color him in. So again, starting with the dark, I grabbed the wrong one, grabbed the wrong end, I'm on a roll. Okay, so this one, we're just going to give it a little bit of the dark. Now this is quite a small image, so the shading is going to be a little bit less. But I do like to give a little bit of dimension, so just a little line here, a little bit of shading. And a little bit on his body. Now for his tummy, I'm just gonna color it straight Crumb Cake, and I'm not the dark here. I'm not gonna worry about any kind of shading. Same with his arms, because they're so skinny. It's gonna be really hard to get any amount of shading on there. So let's just get that done. And then like I mentioned, we're just gonna color his stomach solid dark Crumb Cake. And then we'll come in with the light Crumb Cake and fill that in. And as I mentioned before, the more times you go over the color, the more it blends. Okay, isn't he adorable? And then we'll use the same petal pink that we used for the elephant's inner ear. And we'll do the same thing with this little guy. Oops. Super cute. All right, so we've got him, and we've got our 2 die cut pieces of grass, or clusters of grass. Now we're gonna stamp on our sentiment here, our sentiment banner, and we're gonna stamp Friends Forever using the Memento ink. So again, and I just wanna stamp that to the right edge. And then I'm gonna just grab my Banners Pick-a-Punch, which I have right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and flag the ends of both of these. So I'm gonna just flip it over. That's how I like to use my punch. Okay, so we've got that end done, and then we'll do the same with this end. Now if you don't have the Banners Pick-a-Punch, you can always just use your scissors and do it manually. I just love how easy that makes this. Okay, so now we're gonna end up putting that on top, but first of all, I wanna add our grass. So what I wanna do, and I'll show you why, but first now we're gonna just put some glue here, right along the very bottom. And then we'll put that, I'm kind of leaving this in line with the elephant's feet, okay? Same thing over here, just a little line across the bottom. we'll cover his back feet with this one. All right. Now we can go ahead and attach our Friends Forever. Again, I'm going to use a few dimensionals on the back here. Probably 3 is suffice. One on the ends and one in the center. And then we'll go ahead, and I want to make sure this overlaps our grass and that it's fairly even side to side. Okay. And then I'm going to pull out my mini Stampin' Dimensionals here. I'm going to put a couple on the back of our cute little mouse. And then I want to tuck him in. So I'm going to put him behind this blade of grass, kind of like this. So it looks like he's kind of hiding in the grass. Isn't that cute? I just love it. Okay, so we're gonna add some bling in just a moment, but before we do that, I want to add some stuff to the inside. So Friends Forever, and then I'm gonna stamp in the inside, what a happy day. And then let's tie it in with the front. We'll add a little butterfly here. Now going the same as I did with the front butterfly, I'm gonna color this one here. I like tying it all together. So we'll do this with the light. And then finish it off by, oh, wrong end. Okay, isn't that cute for the inside? Oh, get rid of that little dimensional. So there's our card. Now to finish it off and add some bling, because y'all know I like to add some bling to finish my cards, I'm going to use the Elegant Faceted Gems. These can be found in the annual Stampin' Up! Catalog or on my online store. And they are super pretty. Now mine are almost gone in this package, but you can see there's 3 different styles. This is a clear, this is kind of like a vanilla, and this is more of a petal pink. And any of them would work on our card today. But I'm gonna go ahead and use these ones. They've got a little more sparkle. So I'm just gonna put 3 of them in a nice neat line. Hopefully a nice neat line. Right here, okay. There we go. There's our arrow card using the Elephant Parade. Again, this is one of the cards in my July 2022 Stamp of the Month Club. If you're interested in joining in my club and you live in Canada, please go on over to createwithbirdsnest.ca and you'll find under classes all the information on my Stamp of the Month Club. Or of course, you can always reach out to me and send me a message here on Facebook. But there we go. There's our card, our arrow card, using this super cute Elephant Parade. Thanks everybody for watching. If you liked today's video, please like, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment. I love reading what you have to say. So again, everybody, cheers. Have a wonderful crafty day.